Welcome back, beautiful souls. I'm Lyra Vega, and this is the week the corridor closes. 2 weeks ago, a solar eclipse in Leo asked you to start something. This week, in the first minutes of Friday, a full moon lunar eclipse lands in Pisces and asks you to release something instead. Endings are not failures. They are how a story gets its shape. On Tuesday morning, Mercury walks into Virgo to join the Sun already there, and for the first time in weeks, your thinking gets quiet enough to hear what the eclipse is actually saying. This is not a week to force a decision. It is a week to notice what already let go of you. Let's read the sky, sign by sign. Aries. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your 12th house, the zone of rest, closure, and everything working under the surface. And it asks you to let go of something you have been carrying quietly since March. This is not a loss. It is a release you have been ready for longer than you admit. You may feel unusually tired on Thursday night and strangely light by Saturday. On Tuesday morning, Mercury joins the Sun in Virgo, lighting up your work and health zone with unusual clarity. A routine you set 2 weeks ago finally makes sense on paper, not just in theory. Mars is still in Cancer at the base of your chart, so home continues to run warmer than the rest of your life, and patience there is still the harder skill. Venus in Libra keeps your partnership zone soft, which makes this a good week to let someone else carry part of what you have been holding alone. Your alert: do not schedule anything demanding for Thursday night into Friday morning. Your body needs that window empty. And your advice, Aries: the thing ending this week was already over. You are only the last to know, and that is fine. Taurus. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your 11th house, the zone of friends, groups, and long-term hopes, and it closes a chapter on who belongs in your circle. A friendship that has been fading since the eclipse season began gets its quiet ending this week. Or a group finally becomes what you actually wanted it to be. Either way, stop forcing the guest list. On Tuesday morning, Mercury enters Virgo and lights up your daily work zone with real precision. Instructions, schedules, and small fixes finally land clean. Mars in Cancer keeps your communication zone warm until late September. So text or an email this week still carries more heat than you mean it to. Read it twice. Venus, your ruling planet, is in Libra in your daily work zone, making the office and the routine unusually pleasant company right now. Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries continue a quiet renovation in your 12th house, the part of you that processes alone. So do not mistake this week's tiredness for a problem that needs fixing. Your alert: do not chase anyone who has gone quiet since the 12th of August. Let the silence answer the question. And your advice, Taurus: the wish you release this week makes room for the one you actually meant. Gemini. Friday's lunar eclipse lands at the very top of your chart, in career and public reputation, and it closes a professional chapter that opened or quietly ended around the solar eclipse 2 weeks ago. A title, a project, or a public role reaches its natural stopping point. Let it stop there instead of dragging it forward out of habit. On Tuesday morning, Mercury, your ruling planet, comes home to Virgo, its own sign, at the base of your chart. And for the first time in weeks, your private thinking gets sharper than your public talking. Use the quiet. Mars in Cancer keeps your money zone active, So income this week still comes with more effort attached than usual. Venus in Libra is in your romance zone, keeping affection easy, even while the sky above you is doing serious work. Saturn and Neptune, both retrograde in Aries, keep testing your 11th house of friends and long-term goals. So a group that has felt different since June is not your imagination. Your alert: do not accept or announce a job change on Friday itself. Wait until the following Monday, when Mercury has settled. And your advice, Gemini: your reputation is not the version of you from 2 years ago. Let Friday retire it. Cancer. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your 9th house, the zone of travel, study, and belief. And it closes something you have been circling since the solar eclipse. A course you were not going to finish. A trip that was never going to happen, or a belief you outgrew months ago but kept defending out of habit. Let it go without needing a ceremony. Mars is still in your own sign until late September, so your energy stays high even while your patience runs short. And this week, that fire is better spent finishing than starting. On Tuesday morning, Mercury enters Virgo in your communication zone. And for once, your words match your feelings instead of running ahead of them. Venus in Libra sits at the base of your chart, so home stays a soft place to land after a demanding week. Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries continue to quietly test the top of your chart, so a slow response from someone in authority this week is about their process, not your work. Your alert: on Friday, do not book anything you cannot cancel. Leave the day open. And your advice, Cancer: the belief you are releasing was a placeholder for one you have not found yet. That is progress. Leo. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your 8th house, the zone of shared resources, debt, and intimacy. And it closes a financial or emotional entanglement that has been tangled since the solar eclipse landed in your own sign. A joint account, a loan, or a relationship that runs deeper than it is defined finally gets resolved, one way or another. Let the resolution be honest, even if it is not comfortable. On Tuesday morning, Mercury follows the Sun into Virgo and your money zone, bringing real clarity to a number you have been avoiding. Look at it Tuesday, not Friday. Mars in Cancer sits in your zone of rest, so the low-grade tiredness from the past 2 weeks continues, and this eclipse is your permission to actually rest instead of pushing through it. Venus in Libra keeps your communication zone warm, softening a hard conversation if you have it out loud. Your alert: do not lend or borrow anything new on Friday. Settle what already exists first. And your advice, Leo: releasing control of something you cannot fully control was never weakness, it was always the plan. Virgo. Friday's lunar eclipse lands directly opposite your sign, in your 7th house of partnership, and it is the loudest sky event of your season so far. Whatever you started for yourself 2 weeks ago now meets another person's needs head-on, and something about a relationship, a collaboration, or a contract reaches its honest conclusion. This is not a verdict on you. It is the other half of the story you already started. On Tuesday morning, Mercury, your ruling planet, comes home to your own sign and joins the Sun there, giving you the clearest thinking you have had all month, right when you need it. Use Tuesday to plan, not Friday to react. Mars in Cancer is in your zone of friends and networks, so a group commitment still runs hotter than usual. Venus in Libra sits in your money zone, making this a strong week to negotiate anything you postponed. Your alert: do not make a permanent decision about a relationship on Friday itself. Give it until Mercury has settled. And your advice, Virgo: your season is not about doing everything. It is about finishing what actually matters.
We are halfway through the zodiac, and the eclipse has not landed yet. Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, your readings are next, and the corridor closes for all three of you before the weekend does. Stay with me.
Libra. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your 6th house, the zone of work, health, and daily routine, and it closes out a habit, a job task, or a health pattern that has been quietly unsustainable since the solar eclipse 2 weeks ago. This is the week your body or your calendar finally says enough, and the honest move is to listen instead of pushing through Friday on willpower. Venus, your ruling planet, is still home in Libra, and that steadiness is exactly what carries you through a demanding week without losing your footing. On Tuesday morning, Mercury joins the Sun in Virgo, lighting your rest zone with unusual clarity. You will know precisely what you need to release, which is rarer than it sounds. Mars in Cancer sits at the top of your chart, so career still runs hot, and a superior is still more reactive than usual. Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries keep testing a specific partnership from the outside, asking whether it can hold real weight, not just the idea of it. Your alert: do not add a new commitment to your routine on Friday. Subtract one instead. And your advice, Libra? The version of your schedule you released this week was never sustainable. Build the next one lighter. Scorpio. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your 5th house, the zone of romance, creativity, and joy, and it closes a chapter on something you make or someone you love. A creative project reaches a real ending, or a romantic situation that has been ambiguous since the eclipse season began finally resolves itself, with or without your permission. Let it. Mars, one of your rulers, is still in Cancer, in your zone of travel and belief, keeping your appetite for something new alive, even while this eclipse asks you to close a door first. On Tuesday morning, Mercury enters Virgo in your rest zone, and the private processing you have been avoiding finally gets easier to sit with. Venus in Libra keeps love quiet and personal this month, which suits an eclipse week better than a public one would. Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries continue reworking your daily routine and your health habits in the background. And this eclipse week adds useful pressure to finally change the one habit you already know is not working. Your alert: on Friday, do not perform the ending for an audience. Let it be private. And your advice, Scorpio: you already know what this eclipse is closing. Stop asking it to confirm what your body already decided. Sagittarius. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your 4th house, home and family, and it closes something in your foundation that has been shifting since the solar eclipse cracked it open 2 weeks ago. A living situation, a family role, or the last piece of a house decision reaches its natural end. Let the ending be quiet instead of dramatic. Jupiter, your ruling planet, continues its long, generous run through Leo, pulling you towards something bigger than this week, even while the eclipse asks you to sit still for a moment first. On Tuesday morning, Mercury joins the Sun in Virgo at the top of your chart, sharpening how you talk about your work right when people are paying attention. Mars in Cancer keeps a financial or emotional entanglement warm, so be careful what you agree to fund on Friday specifically. Your alert: do not make a housing decision in the eclipse's exact window. Sleep on it through the weekend. And your advice, Sagittarius: home does not have to look the way you pictured it in March. Let it look like what actually fits now. Capricorn. Capricorn. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your third house, communication, siblings, and short trips. And it closes a conversation, a message thread, or a piece of paperwork that has been unresolved since the eclipse season opened. Something said or left unsaid finally gets its answer this week, whether you asked for it or not. Saturn, your ruling planet, is still retrograde in Aries at the base of your chart, continuing its long, quiet renovation of what home and security actually mean to you. And this eclipse gives you one more honest data point. On Tuesday morning, Mercury enters Virgo in your zone of friends and long-term hopes. And a group conversation you have been putting off finally has the right words available. Mars in Cancer is still in your partnership zone, so someone close to you stays more protective than explained. Your alert: do not send the final word on Friday itself. Send it Monday, once Mercury has settled into Virgo. And your advice, Capricorn: the conversation ending this week was costing you more than staying quiet ever did. Aquarius. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your second house, money and self-worth, and it closes a chapter on what you charge, what you spend, or what you believe you deserve. A number that has felt wrong for months finally corrects itself this week, though it may not feel like relief right away. On Tuesday morning, Mercury joins the Sun in Virgo in your zone of shared resources and intimacy, bringing sudden clarity to a joint account, a debt, or a deeper conversation about what you owe each other. Have that talk Tuesday, not Friday. Mercury in Leo has been loosening its grip on your relationship zone all month, and by this week, the loudest part of that conversation is behind you. Mars in Cancer keeps your daily routine and health zone active, so your body is still keeping score of a demanding month. Venus in Libra continues to make long-distance connections easier than usual. Your alert: do not make a major purchase in the eclipse's exact window on Friday. And your advice, Aquarius: your worth was never the number you released this week. It was never attached to it at all. Pisces. Friday's lunar eclipse lands in your own sign at 4 degrees, which makes this the most personal week of your entire year. This is the eclipse the corridor has been building toward since March. A full moon in Pisces, opposite the sun now settled into Virgo, asking you to complete a chapter of your own identity that started long before this month. You may feel everything more than usual, on Thursday night especially. That is not fragility. That is the sky finally matching what you already knew about yourself. Neptune, one of your rulers, is still retrograde in Aries in your money zone, keeping your sense of worth under quiet renovation. And this eclipse hands you real clarity on that front by the weekend. On Tuesday morning, Mercury joins the Sun in Virgo, your partnership zone. So a conversation with someone close gets unusually honest right before the eclipse lands. Mars in Cancer keeps your creative and romantic energies strong. Your alert: on Friday, cancel anything that asks you to perform instead of feel. And your advice, Pisces: this is your season to be witnessed, not managed.
That is the eclipse, beautiful souls. The corridor that opened 2 weeks ago in Leo closes this Friday in Pisces, and whatever you are releasing does not need your permission, only your attention. Tell me your sign in the comments and one thing you are letting go of this week. I read every single one. If Lyra earned it, subscribe and tap the bell, because next Sunday the sky goes quiet again, and quiet weeks are where you actually get to use everything the eclipses just taught you. We will read it together right here. Until then, eyes on the stars, feet on the ground,